Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is the next part of our reading and written composition course. And this time, we will be discussing reading strategies that you can use and implement in the analysis and assessment of any literary piece or even essays. So, by definition, reading is a fundamental skill, a basic skill that plays an important role in the following your personal life, academic life, and in your professional development. So, reading does not stop in your life as a student, it goes beyond that. Even if you are already a professional or part of the industry, you will still be required to read a lot of materials, and this involves what we call comprehension. However, effective reading goes beyond merely decoding of words or reading of words. It also involves comprehending or understanding and getting meaning from what you have read. Inferring is what we mean by this. Okay, reading strategies are essential tools that empowers you, students, as readers, to engage with the material actively for you to be able to enrich the knowledge that you already have. This is what we mean by engaging with the material to improve comprehension and retain information effectively. So again, you need to engage with the material actively. You have to make sure that you evaluate your emotions during the reading of a particular literary piece or an essay, and then it also improves this particular engagement with the material improves your comprehension. So when you feel something during the reading, it improves your ability to understand what you are reading. Mas naiintindihan nyo ang binabasa ninyo kapag naaapektuhan kayo o na-analyze nyo yung nararamdaman nyo kapag kayo ay nagbabasa. So it goes hand in hand. And again, these first two will also help you retain information effectively. Okay, now to continue, in this comprehensive discussion, we will explore various reading strategies. So, reading strategies will be presented to you aside from SQ3R, which is one of the most common reading strategies that will be used during this particular discussion. There are also other reading strategies that you are not aware of that you are already using. May mga strategies na hindi kayo aware, ginagamit nyo na pala. We will explore various reading strategies, their benefits, and how they can help and how they can be applied to different types of text. Okay, the first one, as mentioned earlier, is what we call SQ3R. So this refers to survey, question, and the 3R is read, recite, and review. So I think I will be creating a separate video for this, but basically an overview of SQ3R are the following. So number one, SQ3R is a structured reading method developed to promote active reading and deep comprehension. So that's the basic goal of any reading strategy, to promote active reading and deep comprehension of what you are reading. Okay? So that's one of the goal of SQ3R. Another description of SQ3R, in the survey stage dito, readers preview the text by skimming. Skimming is already part of our discussion, this one. Okay? So, in the survey stage, merong mga ginagamit itong SQ3R na part na nitong strategy na i-discuss natin. So, part of that is skimming. So, sa survey stage, readers preview the text by skimming headings, subheadings, and visualize or visuals to gain an overview kung ano yung binabasa nila para magkaroon na sila ng idea kung ano yung binabasa nila. So, that will be under survey. Pagdating sa letter Q, under question stage involves formulating questions based on kung ano yung in-skim ninyo, kung ano yung sinurvey ninyo doon sa reading material ninyo. Gagawa kayo ngayon ng tanong. Ito ay magiging guide ninyo in the reading process. So example, while skimming, meron kayong nakitang pangalan ng character. So, susulat nyo doon, gagawa kayo ng question, who is this character? Number one, who are the characters? Number two, what are the roles of these characters? So that is what we mean by the second stage. Okay, while skimming, while surveying. Number three, during the reading stage or the read stage, readers actively seek answers to their questions while reading the text thoroughly. Meron na kayong na-formulate na question dito. Sabi natin, in relation to the different characters. Habang binabasa nyo na dito sa stage na ito, kunin nyo na, kapag na-encounter nyo yung sagot, ilista na ninyo yung sagot. That will happen during the reading stage. Okay, next. In the recite stage, readers summarize the main points in their own words. In their own words. So, you paraphrase what you understand and try to write it down. Yun yung pinakasimple doon. Paraphrase what you understood and then write it down. Okay, reinforcing their understanding. So, this will help you comprehend kung ano yung binabasa ninyo. So, that is the recite stage. The next stage is the review stage. This requires revisiting, kaya siya review. Balikan ninyo. Especially if did not understand the first pass ng reading ninyo. Yung first reading of the manuscript of the text. So you need to review or revisit, requires revisiting the material or the text to solidify para ma-confirm ninyo, tama nga. So kung meron kayong question during the previous stages, yung sa recite, and you want to confirm and validate that, you need to go back doon sa text. Basahin nyo ulit or hanapin nyo kung ano yung part na gusto nyong i-validate. So that is what we call the review stage. Okay, this will solidify learning and identify areas needing further clarification. Yun yung sinasabi nating validation. You need to validate. Baka hindi kayo sigurado doon sa ginawa ninyo doon sa recite stage, you need to go back. So basically, this is what we call the SQ3R reading strategy. To continue, the second strategy is skimming and scanning. We have already touched this particular reading strategy under SQ3R. So ano ang skimming and scanning? So number one, skimming entails quickly glancing through the text to get a general idea of the context and the main points. So literally, you just go over the text. Basahin nyo ng dire-diretso, basahin nyo ng kung kaya nyong bilisan ng konti yung pagbabasa ninyo, especially if you are just trying to identify a specific part nung text na binabasa ninyo. Example, hinahanap niyo yung characters. So, glance through the text hanggat meron kayong makitang pangalan ng character na hinahanap ninyo. So, that is one application of what we call skimming and scanning. The second part, scanning involves searching for a specific information. Ito yung sinasabi natin. If you are looking for specifically a character in the text, in the manuscript, then you just scan. Sino pa yung mga character na to? May nakita ka ng isa, isulat mo yung pangalan, pangalawa, pangatlo, pang-apat. So, that's scanning. Skimming is just browsing, surfing, going through the text, and scanning is trying to specifically identify an information or a fact in the text. Okay? So aside from yung specific information, keywords can also be used in scanning the text without reading the material in full detail. Kahit na hindi nyo pa binabasa, identify nyo muna yung characters because that's your objective. Sino-sino ba yung characters? Then in full, kung gusto nyo nang makuha yung detail, you can go back. Sino itong character na ito na highlight na ninyo, i-indicate ninyo sa material ninyo para you can go back at alam nyo kung saang part nyo babalikan. And then try to identify ano yung role. But basically, that is what we mean by skimming and scanning. Number 3, predicting. So what do we mean by predicting? So under predicting, we have the following definition. Number one, predicting involves making educated guesses even without finishing the reading of the full text. You can already have an idea what will happen. So that is predicting. Okay? Basically, that is the key idea and the key concept pag sinabi nating predicting. Even without finishing the text, you already practice this when you watch movies. You already have an idea of what will happen. This is the same concept with predicting. While reading, you will already have and form an idea of what might happen in the latter part of the text. Kung ano yung binabasa ninyo, magkakaroon na kayo ng idea kung ano yung kakalabasan nung text na binabasa ninyo. Okay, again, predicting involves making educated guesses about what the readers expect to find in the text based on the headings. Doon pa lang sa heading, sa title, may idea na kayo. If what you are reading has visuals, magkakaroon kayo ng idea coming from what the visual is presenting and prior knowledge. So if you have already heard this particular text and you cannot just recall the details, you will already have a prediction based from the previous knowledge that you have regarding this particular text. So that is what we mean by predicting. The second is predictions stimulate curiosity. Okay, so you will be hooked on what you are reading in order to confirm and validate tama ba ito nga ba yon. Okay, and guide readers focus during the reading process. Okay, so that is what we mean by predicting. Let's go on to the next part, annotating and taking notes. So what do we mean by annotating and taking notes? So by definition muna tayo, annotating includes underlining, sabi natin kanina, for you to be able to go back to the text, to that part of the text, to that information that you are scanning. Naghanap kayong pangalan ng characters. Hindi pwedeng nakita nyo yung pangalan, pinabayaan nyo na. Make a mark. Lagyan nyo ng marka by number one, you can underline, you can highlight, or you can jot down sa notes ninyo if you want a copy separate from the text. Diba? Maliban doon sa binabasa ninyo, hindi nyo masusulatan, gumawa kayo ng sarili nyong kopya. But I advise you to make sure that you mark the particular text that you are scanning. Okay? So that is annotating. Jotting down notes in margins to the side of the text if that is printed, and to mark important information. So ito yung binabanggit natin kanina. Kailangan markahan ninyo yung mga na-scan ninyo na information na hinahanap ninyo or connections. Okay. The next part is note-taking helps organize key points and ideas for future reference and review. Aside from the main text, you need to keep a record. Note-taking is your personal record of the events that happened in the text. So you can customize, you can personalize your note, and this will help you better understand kung ano yung binabasa ninyo. So that is what we call annotating. The next one, visualizing. So let's go to number 5. Visualizing requires readers to create a mental image. So literally, you're going to visualize what you are reading. I-imagine ninyo, yun yung salitang ginagamit natin. Imagine ninyo kung ano yung magiging itsura ng binabasa ninyo. So that is what we call creating mental images or visual representations of the content. This will better help you. This will help you understand the situation and the context. Kung halimbawa nasa bukid sila, kasama yung kalabaw, nandun si Dodong, i-visualize ninyo ano yung itsura ng bukid? Ano yung itsura ng si Dodong kasama yung kalabaw? So that is what we mean by visualizing. Visually representing the text that you are reading. Visual representations of the content to aid understanding, to help you better understand and retain the information. Okay? mas matagal daw ang retention kapag visually nare-represent natin yung binabasa natin. So that goes hand in hand. Okay, next. This strategy enhances comprehension. As mentioned earlier, it will help you understand what you are reading and makes the material more memorable and more exciting. Okay, the next one is what we call chunking. So ano naman ang ibig sabihin nitong chunking? Chunking involves the breaking down of the text into smaller, manageable sections or chunks to for easier processing and comprehension. You can do this by making marks. So, pwede nyo lagyan ng bracket. Halimbawa, itong number 5 and number 8 tells about, tapos lagyan nyo ng label. Okay? And then the remaining part tells about, then lagyan nyo ng label. So, that is what we call chunking. Okay, another definition is by focusing on smaller portions, you as readers can better absorb and retain information. So halimbawa, ano yung nangyari doon sa climax ng story? So identify mo dito, ito yung climax. And you only want to focus on the climax. So you already have an idea that this portion, this chunk refers to the climax. Okay? And it will better, and when you isolate, kapag hiniwalay nyo yun, ginawa nyong by chunk, by group, you will better absorb and understand that particular part of the text that you are trying to evaluate and assess. So that is what we mean by chunking. Next, number 7, summarizing. After reading a section or a portion of the entire text, summarizing the main points only, okay, the main points in one's own words reinforces understanding and retention. So what do you do when you summarize? You do not paraphrase, you do not rewrite the whole text, but you get the main points. You get the main points and you try to paraphrase that in a way that you would better understand that particular point that you separated or isolated. Okay, so again, when you read an entire text, when you read the entire literary piece, you try to get the main points and you try to create your own idea of how you understood the text. Recreate ninyo kung paano nyo naintindihan in a way that when you read that writing that you did, mas madali nyo siyang maintindihan. So that is the essence of summarizing. Okay, ulitin natin, hindi yung nire-write nyo lang kung ano yung original text or pinaraphrase nyo lang kung ano yung part ng text na sinasummarize ninyo. Get the main points of the text. Next, number 8, asking questions. So what do we mean by asking questions? By definition, again, number 1, encouraging readers to ask questions while reading keeps them engaged and actively seeking answers within the text. Question, who are you going to ask questions? If you are reading by yourself, you ask yourself the question. Okay? So habang nagbabasa kayo, sabi nga natin kanina, ano bang role ni ganito? Ano ba yung nangyari doon sa climax ng story? You try to formulate a question and then you ask that question so that you would be guided accordingly sa paghahanap ninyo ng sagot. Okay? So that I think this is part of the SQ3R strategy. Okay, the next definition, questioning fosters critical thinking to deepen your understanding of the part that you are reading. Okay? Ulitin natin, sa pamamagitan ng pagtatanong, mas naiintindihan ninyo yung bahagi na binabasa ninyo. Okay? Kasi hindi lang halimbawa anong pangalan ng character. Tapos na. Tapos, pwede niyong palalimin yon. Ano ba yung role ng character? Pwede niyo pang palalimin yun. Anong kinalaman ni character sa buhay ni isa pang character? So, it deepens your understanding of a particular part ng text. Okay, so that is what we call asking questions. Next, number 9. Making connections. So what do we mean by making connections? Connecting the content prior knowledge, personal experiences, or other text deepens understanding and makes the material more relatable. So this is not to connect the main idea of the text to another main idea of the text. You are going to make connections based on your prior knowledge of the text. If you already have an idea or you were able to hear or encounter this particular text, you connect that to what you are reading. Prior knowledge connected to what you are currently reading. So that is what we mean by making connections. Again, when we talk about connections, connecting the content prior to knowledge, personal experiences, or other text deepens understanding and makes the material more relatable. Okay, you can also compare this to other stories, to other text na nabasa ninyo. Ay, kapareho ito ni ganito. Ay, may ano siya, meron siyang element na pareho ni ganyan. Okay? Ganito din kaya yung magiging ending niya. So, you are already questioning. Meron ng asking questions doon. And at the same time, merong making connections. Okay? So, that is number 9. Number 10, identifying text structure. Okay, let's read the definition. Recognizing the organization and structure of the text. Recognizing the organization and structure of the text. Therefore, cause and effect, compare and contrast, chronological order. So, try to identify kung papaano binuo, kung papaano present yung binabasa ninyong text. And the reason for this is it helps readers grasp and follow the information. There are different writing strategies. Minsan symbolic, minsan unorthodox. Ibig sabihin, hindi yung normal na paraan ng pagsusulat, pero may kakaiba siyang paraan ng pagsusulat. You need to identify kung papaano yung structure ng pagsusulat niya. And by doing this, mas naintindihan ninyong yung gusto niyang ipahatid na mensahe doon sa binabasa ninyo. Okay? Another is understanding text structure aids in the following: the author's logic and argumentation. Kung ano yung mensahe, yung sabi ko kanina, kung ano yung mensahe na gustong ipahatid nung nagsulat, makukuha ninyo, maiintindihan ninyo. Kapag you try to use this particular strategy, which is identifying the text structure, identifying the style na ginagamit ng writer. If you read it na literal pero symbolic naman pala yung paraan ng pagsusulat niya, you will not get the author's logic and argumentation and message of the author. So that is the importance of identifying the text structure. Okay, to continue with the next part of our discussion, we are now going to go to number 11, which is inferring. So what do we mean by inferring? Inferring involves the following. So it involves drawing conclusion, not literally drawing ha. Kukuha kayo. Kukuha kayo ng isang idea doon sa binasa ninyo, and this idea is what we call conclusion. Conclusion is a statement. Conclusion is a realization. A realization based from what you have read. It's a statement. Kaya pala ganyan, kaya ganito siya. Ganito siya, conclusion yon. Ganito siya kasi ganito pala yung nangyari sa kanya. So that is an example of what we call conclusion. You infer something based from the previous reading of the text. Okay? You already formulated an idea based from the text that you have read. Okay, so to continue making educated guesses based on clues and informations presented in the text. This is what I was mentioning earlier. Okay, magkakaroon na kayo ng statement, ng idea based from what you have read. So this is what we mean basically by inferring. Inferring promotes critical thinking because this is based from the information that was fed to you through reading, and because of this nagkaroon na kayo ng creation, nagkaroon na kayo ng pagbuo ng information mula sa isang bagay na nabasa ninyo. And again, this involves critical thinking skills and understanding comprehension beyond the explicit text, meaning beyond what was given, meron kang mga nabuong mga idea. Okay? Maliban doon sa binasa ninyo, hindi kasama sa binasa ninyo. Okay, so that is what we mean by inferring. That's number 11. Number 12, self-monitoring. So when we talk about self-monitoring, skilled readers continually monitor their understanding while reading. They continually check and go back to their understanding and try to validate habang nagbabasa sila. O dito sa binasa ko, meron na dagdag na information. So mali pala, parang hindi yata sila related. You try to re-evaluate and rethink what you already formed kapag nagbabasa kayo. Okay, especially if there is a new information that was added from your previous knowledge. So that is self-monitoring. You try to continually update the information that you have while reading. Next, they adjust. Sino yung they? Yung mga nagbabasa. Yung readers adjust their reading strategies if comprehension is compromised. So kapag mali yung kanilang pagkakaintindi, they try to adjust, they try to reread, they try to reorganize, they try to restructure. Ay, hindi pala ito yung yung meaning ng binabasa ko, gumagamit pala siya ng symbol. So you have to readjust everything. Okay? Or else if you're going to push through with what you have already formed, and nagkaroon ka ng information na ay symbolism pala ito na hindi nyo binago, obviously the output or the result or the answer that you will be submitting will be considered invalid, and therefore it will be considered wrong. Okay, so you need to adjust when you identify something is not aligned dito sa self-monitoring. Next, number 13, rereading to read that portion or that part of the text again. Okay? If readers encounter challenging or unclear, meron kayong hindi maintindihan at ang hirap intindihin na part ng inyong text, they reread. Basahin nyo lang ulit. I have also encountered that portion wherein there's a part of the text na hindi ko maintindihan. When you try to reread, not the second time around, not just the second time or third time, you will get a better understanding of the text. But of course, you have to do something aside from rereading. You have to identify the vocabulary words, the technical words, especially the words that you do not understand in that particular portion. Hindi nyo lang babasahin ulit. I-identify ninyo ano yung mga salitang hindi nyo naintindihan, get the definition according to the context, kung ano yung binabasa ninyo. And again, with that information, with that definition, basahin nyo ulit and then you will better understand what you are reading. Okay, so that is what we mean by rereading. The second part, rereading allows for a deeper grasp of complex concepts. So again, rereading is required, especially if there are difficult, unclear, challenging part of your text. Reread. Okay, number 14. Setting reading goals. Okay, by definition, setting specific goals for reading such as understanding the key concepts, finding specific answers to questions, kagaya sabi natin kanina, when you read or during reading, you already have a goal, or skimming or scanning. Sa scanning, you already have a goal to identify the characters. So, this is part of what we call setting reading goals. And another reading goal, you want to identify the origin of the conflict, the argument. That's another setting reading goals. Okay? Finding answers to specific questions, gathering information for research and for validation, it keeps the readers focused and purposeful. Merong goal, merong direction yung inyong pagbabasa kapag nakaset yung inyong goal. Merong patutunguhan yung binabasa ninyo. Kasi kapag nadaanan ninyo, at least malalaman nyo, nakita ko ba yung sagot? Nakita ko yung sagot, tama ba yung sagot? And so on and so forth. So that is what we call setting reading goals. The next one is relating to the text. So what do we mean by relating to the text? Connecting emotionally. I've already mentioned this earlier. When you connect to the text, you connect with it emotionally, trying to evaluate and assess yourself. Ano yung naramdaman ko when reading this part? Ano yung reaction ko when reading this part? So aside from emotional reaction, you also assess yung intellectual part in relation to the characters. So try to evaluate what you are reading emotionally and intellectually, meaning sino itong character na to? Ano yung role ng character? Ano yung relationship ng character dito? So intellectually does not only require you to memorize the character, you have to understand the characters. To the characters' themes or messages of the text, yung lesson, yung value ng text. Text of a text enhances engagement para mas na-appreciate ninyo yung text na binabasa ninyo and for better understanding under comprehension. So personal connection fosters a deeper connection with the material. Mas nagkakaroon ng halaga sa inyo yung isang literary piece, isang text kapag nare-relate ninyo sa buhay ninyo. Okay, the last part is what we call the benefits of reading strategies. So, number one, improve comprehension. Enumerate muna natin. So, number one is it improves your comprehension. It enhances retention, recall of the story, even without reading from the copy, from the text, you would be able to explain and answer questions. Okay, so that is what we mean by enhanced retention. And the next one is active learning. So active learning, by definition, reading strategies encourage critical thinking and interactive learning. So active learning is uh, trying to engage in the story, in the text, by feeling emotions and adding new knowledge to what you already have, and then trying to realize something. So that is what we call active learning. Okay, next, efficient studying. So by definition, efficient studying is applying strategies like kung ano yung mga binanggit natin, allows readers to locate relevant information quickly. Therefore, studying becomes efficient. Mas less time, mas effective yung inyong pagbabasa kapag ginagamitan nyo ng mga strategies, kagaya ng mga binanggit natin. Okay, another benefit ng reading strategies, holistic understanding. Hindi lang sa level ng intellectual, emotional, even yung moral level can also be affected kapag sinabi nating holistic understanding. Hindi lang yung knowledge na na-acquire mo, kundi yung application ng knowledge. So by definition, making connections and inferring deepen comprehension, aside from comprehension, beyond the surface level of understanding. Hindi nyo lang naintindihan, naramdaman ninyo kung ano yung nararamdaman ng mga characters at yung mensahe ng author doon sa text. And then, you also have this urge na baguhin yung sarili ninyo, evaluate nyo yung sarili ninyo, realize something about yourself, and then after that, apply and implement the values that you have learned from the text. So that is what we call an effective reading using these reading strategies and yung benefits ng reading ninyo. So again, thank you very much everyone. Stay safe and God bless. Bye!